the whole deal with Anthem. So this is this is the reveal video for gameplay of Anthem, which shows, as you might have heard, the correct button prompts, because this video was uploaded to the PlayStation channel and there was kind of these photoshopped or After Effects or whatever buttons that were for PlayStation just over the Xbox One X buttons. And that kind of got into this little problem. They took the video down. That's a whole separate issue. The thing with this is, it's not new. This has happened before many times. And I'm still impressed that people seem to think that any of this was real. Any of it. I don't buy it for a second. But let's take a look at something else. Because if you compare BioWare's other big release of recent years, Mass Effect Andromeda, there's a very clear disrespect and disregard that was given to Mass Effect. So I wrote down a couple of these things, and we'll actually kind of go into it. So in this reveal, which happened in June of 2017, we're going to get dates for everything. We have 6 minutes, and you're seeing some of it right now, about 6 minutes of pure gameplay. There are some cuts in it, but you're flying around the jungle, and it's not a pre-rendered thing. It seems very, this is what the game could be, and that's great. Now let's compare and contrast to what happened with Mass Effect, which is a very different tale. This is one of the trailers. This is, I believe, the official reveal trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda. Anyway, so we have right here, June 9th, 2014, EA revealed that BioWare was working on 2 projects, Mass Effect Andromeda and some unknown thing, which is now Anthem. So they revealed these games at roughly the same time, and during that reveal, which is not being shown, they showed some things that were from both. So some of those vistas or whatever, because most of it was just vistas, could be from Anthem. That's interesting. Now the red tree was in that video. Then we move on to Mass Effect's official reveal, June 15th, 2015, with a CG trailer and some concept art. Still not a lot. Still almost a full year from release. Still don't have anything. We get to, or actually 2 years. 2 years away from release. Still no gameplay. Now, on June 12th, 2016, not even 2 minutes long is the trailer. That's this trailer, I believe. Most of it having these dev shots of people around computers and some in-engine looking stuff, but not actual gameplay. Nothing's really shown being shot or being talked to, the 2 primary things you do in Mass Effect and Andromeda, or Mass Effect in general. And then we get some actual gameplay shown on September 7th at the PlayStation Pro reveal. This is the 4K footage. Now that gameplay, again, doesn't show combat and doesn't show talking to people, but we do get that here in this video that's being shown on December 1st. November 7th had nothing for the game, really. Nothing tangible or real that we can sink our teeth into. December 1st, 2016, 5 minutes of actual gameplay was shown for Mass Effect Andromeda. And the game was, of course, released, March 21st, 2017, 3.5 months later after a gameplay reveal, which we are watching right now. Now let's take a step back. Let's assume, and this is a wild assumption that I don't believe for a second, because as I said at the top, I don't believe really anything we saw from Anthem as being real. I don't believe it's going to come out next year, but let's assume. Let's assume this is real. This is the game. It's coming out fall 2018. Let's assume. Let's make those assumptions, right? Let's assume November 2018. If that's true, that will have meant they showed this gameplay bit, regardless of how unrealistic it is from the final version. That's irrelevant. It will have been shown 17 months before the game came out, compared to the 3.5 months that we got for some finally got some Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay. Now, here is the problem, because this isn't a video or rant about Anthem not being real or whatever. Look how far along, even I believe this combat more than I believe the world this is in. Look how much further along this is compared to anything that was shown in the Mass Effect Andromeda video just like 2 minutes ago. Way further along. It's not cutting all over the place. There aren't enemies getting glitched into things, which were in that video. The Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay official reveal video had glitches in it. Shown in it. Unbelievable how that happened. The editing alone in that video at certain points was terrible. And then we get this. The big hurrah for BioWare. This is amazing, impressive, so many words we can use to describe it. This is what Andromeda needed. What did Andromeda get? Andromeda got 3 E3s in a row of almost nothing. 2 that were primarily just over the shoulder of computers and devs looking at the camera, and 1 that was just kind of Mass Effect-y. And here is the big point. These games were technically revealed at the same time. That's what I brought up at the beginning of all this. In June of 2014, this was the other project they were working on. Obviously, the Mass Effect one was going to be first because it was named and it was being talked about like that. But we knew this was coming too. We knew there was an unnamed project coming from BioWare. And that's Anthem. And what I can't understand is why EA intentionally sent Andromeda to die so obviously. There's so many reasons as to why you do this, why you'd look at a game and go, we need to delay it. It doesn't matter. You're fucking EA. You don't need to meet your quarter financials. You don't need to kill a franchise to meet your financials. Or whatever. The very fact that 2 weeks after Andromeda came out, there was a patch that fixed a bunch of things pretty much proves my point. They just couldn't wait, and they had to get that game out. And they knew, they knew that it was going to die. It had to die. There was nothing else to do with it. And they let it die. They could have delayed that game 9 months to roughly a month or so from now and had an entirely different thing of how this plays out, right? Like, it's crazy to me that they killed one of their biggest franchises, one of their franchises that isn't about the military in World War I or whatever, or isn't sports. And they intentionally killed it and that studio for what? So it wouldn't release so close to their other space franchise that this is? It doesn't make any sense. And there's so much. I know there was a lot going on behind the scenes with Andromeda, but really, it doesn't matter. You could have given that game some time. And it didn't have to end up the way it did. You sent it out to die. You knew you were killing it. You knew you were killing Mass Effect. EA, you knew it. You 100% knew it. And anything else that you say about it is a lie. You knew you were killing that game. These devs pay for mock reviews. They know what's going to happen. Okay? They know. You know what's wrong with your game. You know. And you also know a big ass company like that could have just waited on the game. It didn't need to come out then. It really didn't. And it's another mistake. in a series of mistakes EA has been making, I think, for years. All the way back to that E3, which I think was 2014 when they showed off the one trailer I keep mentioning, where it was just a bunch of dev diaries and like no games. Or them releasing Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 a week apart. Or 2 weeks, like, what was that about? They just don't seem to understand what they're doing in that respect. In a way, like, you could have delayed Titanfall 2 and it could have come out in February, the beginning of February, and people would have ate that shit up, but you sent it to die. EA has killed 2 franchises in less than a year. And 3, because you could start with last June with Mirror's Edge. They've killed 3 franchises in a year, 2 of which really are their fault. Mirror's Edge, I don't know if we could have salvaged that. Who knows? That just might be people not interested. But they sent Titanfall to die, and they sent Mass Effect to die. What are they doing? What exactly is going on? I don't get it. I don't buy it, and I don't like it. And I also, the more I watch this Anthem gameplay, the more I'm into it, the less I trust it. I don't trust any of this. Although I am super down to be flying like Iron Man. That's besides the point. This isn't real. And Mass Effect Andromeda was an inside job. There was someone on the grassy knoll who let it happen. There's a dog outside barking. I think it's related. It's all related. Anyway, that's enough. That's long enough on this. Let's move into the actual topics of the show. Look at him. Look at him. He's like a little Iron Man man. Pew 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 pew.